There's been some interesting discourse in the comments, and I can't remember if it was comments on Patreon or comments on the YouTube comments. Maybe a combination of both. I can't remember at the top of my head. But it's been about the fact that I said this was a happy show, and there was I think it was Vinland Saga I was watching that was kind of made me sad, and I was enjoying coming back into this show, and this made me happy, something like that. People are like, oh my god, you think this is a happy show? LOL or whatever, right? By the way, I notice most people online they say lol. I say LOL. In my head, it's LOL. It's always LOL. It's never lol. But that always strikes me as weird. People say lol. Anyway, that's not our point. The point is that people have been saying and I think I know where they're going with this. Obviously, they've seen the show. I haven't. But from what we've seen so far, this is kind of show that deals with PTSD. It deals with trauma. There's probably people that who care about each other and that we care about who are going to die. It's going to be ugly, right? Like this is going to be ugly. I'm sure. So if that's what they're talking about, then I think the disconnect here is I I went through a lot of trauma when I was growing up, and one of the things that got me through the trauma was my sense of humor. Finding comedy anywhere you can, like you're clawing and scratching, trying to find comedy somewhere. Okay, this one thing right here, this is funny, and you can see this with like oppressed groups, like they'll fall back on humor. The comedians, stand-up comedians, are some of the saddest people in the world. They've been through, the people who are the funniest are the ones who've been through the most shit. So Robin Williams, the list goes on and on. That's how we do it. Like we deal, people who've been through traumatic experiences, they try to find comedy in something, and that's how they cope. That feels like home. It feels comforting. It's like mashed potatoes and gravy. It's like it makes you feel better to find some kind of humor in something in this sorry ass fucking world. The world sucks. Life sucks. Life comes and kicks you in the groin repeatedly. And you need some way to cope with this. A great way to cope with it is finding the humor. Okay? So there are certain kinds of shows that try to find those moments of humor here and there in the way that us in everyday life when we're going through crap, we try to find the humor in things. Like you just got fired from your job, you just got thrown out of the house, you've lost your partner, they're about to reclaim your car, and you're walking down the street and you don't know what the hell you're going to do. You don't know where your next meal is coming from. But you see a dog humping a fire hydrant and it makes you laugh. Some people can't do that, and those are the people that sink so low they can never recover. But the people who can find that tiny bit of comedy and laugh for that 3 seconds, those are the people who can survive in life. Because life's rough. You have to have a coping mechanism. That's a very strong coping mechanism. This show finds that. This show finds comedy. Like you can't say it doesn't. There's been overt comedy with the can coming up, and we think that they're going to expose as privates, and it turns out that they're not, right. Like they're overtly trying to find comedy, and some of these things are more like it's the characters are comical. At least I find them comical. Maybe they're not intended to be, but I find them. So this show looks for and finds humor every chance it can get. It's about more than that. It's not a sitcom, but it does look for and find humor. That's what's comforting about this show. This show feels like a traumatized friend that I can go to, and even though their life sucks and they're going through hell, they can make me laugh, and I can make them laugh. Other shows, like there were several seasons of Game of Thrones, did not do that. They were dark and bleak and miserable. And there may have been a moment or two, like the Hound has some funny lines. There may be a moment or two where they have a joke, but most of it's dark and dank and wet and miserable and soggy, and it's like there's no humor to be found there. There's nothing comforting about that. Now I'm not saying Vinland Saga's like that. They do find humor somewhere, but they don't do it in the way this show does it. So that's what I'm saying here. I'm saying that this show reminds me of a traumatized friend, reminds me of myself, reminds me of these funny people in the world who look for and can find humor somewhere, some kind of way. So yes, this is a funny show. Yes, this is a comforting show. I don't care how dark it gets. I don't care how bad things get. I think that it'll always try to do that. It'll always try to find some little piece of happiness. To that end, I think somebody said that the person who wrote the original manga, or who wrote this, I think maybe this show came first and the manga came later. And this is second information. I don't know if this is true or not, but somebody said that the person who created this killed themselves, which would not shock me at all. Because what if just the creator of this show seems like the kind of person that I am, where you've had a shitty life, you're trying to find the humor. What if someday I just stopped finding the humor in anything? I couldn't find the humor anymore. That would be unbearable, right? So I could totally see that if he's like me, the person who created this is like me, and they stopped finding humor anywhere, which they were trying to do with this show. I can see that outcome happening, right? So that tracks. That definitely tracks. Alrighty, here we go. We're at the first frame after the theme song is ended. You can see what frame we're in there. Yes, that issue's already been worked out with the council. So start in the very first frame of that, then we'll be ready to roll. We're going on one. 3, 2, 1. This shady motherfucker here. I have a feeling this is an important exposition. I'm going to listen to this. Of course, then they immediately cut away, right? Yeah. Pretty much. A date, you say? I knew he was going to react that way. I could hear this show's thoughts coming from the other room, man. I knew what they were going to do there. Dumbass. Why don't I believe her? I think she's full of shit. Jesus. That is a huge fleet. When did I say this came out? 95? Yeah. I'm surprised they still cared about. Nice. I like the world building. But battleships weren't really. Interesting. I love the Navy, so any of this like world building in that regard is I'm into it. But anyway, like I'm surprised. What I was trying to say was I'm surprised I think battleships are important because it's all about the carriers, baby. Yeah, it is cool. Aircraft carriers are my favorite. It wasn't Dad's. He was with the ballistic ships, right? The cruisers and battleships. So he served on the USS Midway once for about 6 9 months, something like that. But he didn't like it. He preferred the battleships and the cruisers. Just pick up your hat, dumbass. Jesus, that's right. Stomp on it. F your hat. So apparently she's gonna be the femme fatale, right? You could just ask her, dumbass. Jesus, he's a child. Well, of course he's a child. He's an infant. I like how they introduced her. Really? That's what we're doing. I wish I loved anything as much as this show. Wait, she slap him? Admission for the show. Come on, man. The hell are they doing? So she slapped. See what I mean? Come on, man. See what I'm talking about? That's exactly what I'm talking about right there. But they're obsessed with nudity. Like they need to come off that. There are other forms of comedy, but that was funny. I love the way they implied the slaps instead of showing them. Like that's just genius, man. There's so much more you can do with implication than reality, right? They're doing their comedy and then they're also doing the. They're also doing the exposition dumps. I'm trying to pay attention here. Shut the hell up. Look at this son bitch. Confiscate his camera and lock him up. The UN Pacific Fleet. Huh? Somebody, by the way, did mention the fact that, um, it seems like in anime, it seems like Japan has the weight of the world and nobody else helps. It's centric. United States stories are the same way. Like, nobody else helps the United States when they're fighting, Independence Day, right? They briefly allude to, other fights happening around the world, but nobody gives a shit. It's an American story. This is a Japanese story. It's fine. I'm gonna have to go back and make sure I catch all this dialogue. I'm gonna have to watch this again just to pay attention because they're throwing so much at us right now. That's right. What are you doing up here? Apparently, they have emotional baggage. Is what I'm understanding here. Yeah, this is. I almost said a really bad word. I try. That's the one slur that I haven't been able to beat out of my brain that I learned as a kid. You know, the R word for mentally disabled people, right? That's the one slur I can't get out of my head. But yeah, this is ridiculous, is what I should say. It is entirely plausible, isn't it? You should tell you, man. How could you say this is not a funny show? This is hilarious. I love it. But they're not. Look at it. I had to back it up a little bit. So I revisited some of the dialogue where he's asking her if she's seen anyone. Clearly he's trolling her, right? She's like, I don't see how that's any of your business. So that really set up this next thing that happened here. So I'm glad I went back to see that because I didn't notice that the first time. I was caught up when I was talking about, right? Yeah. You're brilliant. Don't get shy now, dude. Look at her. She's pissed. Yeah. Why is she so pissed? That's going to be interesting. I think he's an idiot. Yeah, exactly. That's why. They're explaining immediately what she's thinking. Yeah. What's up with that? They also love escalators on this show, don't they? She hates this dude, man. Uh oh. Just realized I'm so caught up. I can't remember if I've cussed yet this episode. I need to watch that too. Yeah, they're gonna have different colors every episode, so you can sell more toys, right? When Klaus did the graphic for me this week for the schedule, he had the different action figures, each one on a different day. I like that. It's really cool. This is the first real one. See, yours is fake. Uh oh. He's gonna have to fight, and he's gonna have to jump in this to do it, isn't he? That's exactly what's gonna happen. How much do we have left? Oh, we've got like 15 something 10 15 minutes left. There's got to be an action scene. Like that's legally required, right? So he's gonna have to jump in here and save the fleet. Look at her, all evil. That's what I thought. She's quite evil, you know. Suka strikes. I tell you, man, just the form of an aircraft carrier, the way it's shaped, just sends me to my giggle place, man. I just love it so much. It's my favorite ship. Yeah, I like the way it can project power, of course. You know, it's just everything about the aircraft carrier. It's like a floating city. They have workshops and factories inside. They can build anything they need. It's really cool, man. Yeah, you'd think so, wouldn't you? I wrote some sci-fi stories about this. It's 100 years in the future. Nuclear warfare has basically killed everybody. There's a few populations left, right? God damn. But and so people, the survivors want an aircraft carrier because there's everything you need on an aircraft carrier. It's a floating city, but it's also a weapon, right? So yes, I've been even as a kid, I was obsessed with aircraft carriers. This show would have been my jam. Yeah, that's just how she floats, man. Stop looking at her underwear, by the way. Oh, that's what are you doing? I said we could ask the writers because the writers seem very stupid and horny, don't they? Wow, nice outfit. This actually that looks good on her. Also, I mentioned this before. You press a button and it shapes up to your body because, of course, it has to be form fitting, right? You know, we got to see the curves. You know, so why are the writers so horny? That's what I want to know. Yep, get him out there. That's right. Get your outfit on. What are you waiting for? Yeah, you damn right you are. No, let's just be rebels. She's gonna get you in trouble, boy. She is a loose cannon. Then why is he coming though? That's the question, right? Damn, they're just destroying this fleet. Yeah, but it's inevitable. I didn't think about it, but like it's inevitable. It's gonna happen. Look at his little binoculars or camera. I love the interface, like this capsule that goes in and out. Like I love that. So I assume they're in fluid right now, even though they're not showing that, right? That was she saying. Uh oh, two people. Of course, it's his fault. She's an a-hole. Oh, I see. That's what she was doing. Yeah, there's no way. There's no way in hell I'm thinking in German. Believe that. He's an idiot. So we're going to dumb it down for him. He knew one word in German, man. That was it. I always wonder about that. By the way, this is a Japanese show. Did they get the German right? Let me know, Klaus. Was it German because, for instance, in Lost, when they were speaking Korean, it was apparently terrible Korean. And Korean people watched it and said it was awful, right? So just because we can't tell the difference doesn't mean that they did a good job. Tell you what, her arrogance is gonna get them both killed. Yeah, sure, that's right. Maybe they'll both get killed off, right? Damn. Well, that feels like a problem. But they can't both be red. What are you doing here? You can't have them both be red. Yep. REO Speedwagon felt the same way as you do. This reminds me of, I wonder, this is a very classic show, right? I wonder if that, like, Godzilla versus King Kong ripped this off. Because that's exactly what they did in Godzilla versus King Kong. Like, they must have ripped this off, right? Like, I know there's nothing new under the sun. They could have independently come up with the same idea. But it bothered me in that movie, and it bothers me here. Like, if you're jumping, you have that much mass, and you land on a ship, you're pretty much going to drive the ship underwater, I would assume. And it didn't happen there, and it didn't happen here. It's weird. I wonder how much extra weight an aircraft carrier could actually hold, right? I know he's, like, messing it up, but, like, I feel like the whole thing would be underwater. There we go. Well, that would be a weapon. He's got his little switchblade. Oh, crap. I was a little confused, by the way. I thought that, like, at first the thing standing on top of the ship, because it seemed to be destroying the ship, was the enemy, right? Because we didn't really get a good look at the enemy. And that's why I said, why are they both red? Now I realize it was just them. This is the enemy here. Gotcha. This is a little confusing. Well, so much for that. Yeah, dude, you forget about your flight deck. It's over. Look at this. I don't know, man. It feels like, as soon as you came out, you should just went into the water. Staying on top of the aircraft carrier doesn't feel like the plan. You never know till you die, right? What is this, a city under there? Or, like, I guess those are wrecked ships? It's hard to tell. Like, maybe it actually is a city, isn't it? Look at this. Damn. Yeah. Yep. Anybody who's ever had a extension cord has experienced what we just saw there on a smaller level, right? They're just knocking the planes in the water. How could you not realize this show is funny? Like, what is wrong with you? It's always hilarious. Man. Well, that's all the power we get, I guess. That's it. Rip the USB out of the aircraft carrier, right? I guess he's using floppy disk for his camera. Well, they were never going to let you utilize this footage anyway, buddy. She seems upset. Very upset, actually. Look at her. Eye twitching. I'm sensing, like Counselor Troy, like, I'm sensing irritation. Hey, dude, this is your party. Oh, now I'm a wimp, huh? Man, she has no accountability, right? She gets him in the problem and then she's going to blame him. You know what, though? Like, maybe I'm wrong about that. She just has no experience, right? Because she didn't even know that they have mouths. So maybe she's just, like, so inexperienced she didn't realize how much trouble they were getting him in. I'll cut her the benefit of the doubt. She is an a-hole, though. Like, don't get me wrong. She's an a-hole. Get your hand off him. You done wrecked my ship. Why not? This is why they had the battleships. I got you. Man, screw that. You out of your mind. Wow. I don't have a good feeling about this. I, the idea of wasting ships like that. This is what they did in Black Sails. Man, I'm not saying hit a girl, but I'm not saying hit a girl. Where they sink the ships in the harbor so that they crash into them. This is essentially that, but at a higher level. I don't like it, man. Man, it just makes a sick feeling in my stomach. Though you know, I just realized they're fishing. They're literally fishing here. The power line is a fishing line. That's what they're doing. That's hilarious, actually. Good point. They are literally fishing this monster. That is hilarious, man. I love that. Oh man. Well, whatever it takes, right? Like they have to do this. So tell you what, I need to figure out this character's name, the redhead, because she is wild, man. Yeah, yeah. They mentioned at the beginning of the episode. Once I finish watching, I'll scroll back and find it. So, dude, you got like 10 seconds. Maybe you shouldn't take manual force to move this around, right? You ever have to steer a car when the power steering goes out? Like it's a lot. I'm just saying. That's right. Take this L. I still think these creatures are cyborgs. There's obviously a biological component. That's obvious, but there also seems to be an electronic mechanical component, which is the definition of a cyborg, right? Nice landing, superhero landing. Thus, I'll give it a 5.8. He hit the landing, but then he collapsed, right? So, our 5 ships that are left just wrecked, absolutely wrecked. Look at them. Hopefully, she's not a one-shot character because she's a pretty interesting character. A jerk, arrogant, foolhardy, but interesting. That's right, matching outfits. I don't care what it rubs you. Huh? Interesting. But yeah, no baggies there, right? He's snitching. They're getting into the mythology here. Looks like interesting. Right, right. They're getting into some pretty heavy sci-fi stuff here, right? Shrew, huh? That's what we're calling it. Yeah, yeah. I mean, she's a lot to deal with. My God, you're in hell. Asuka. Okay, gotcha. That was the name of the episode, wasn't it? Asuka. Okay, so I don't have to scroll back. Yeah, she's a lot. They love the belligerent sexual attention despite the ages, which I guess that's present at that age, but not in any tangible way. But they love that like this show lives there. But then we'll criticize men for being horny. Like, come on, like you're speaking it into existence. Anyway, like I did pause and I had some commentary, so I'll go ahead and hand that off now. I had to pause it here, man, because like I just need to emphasize this. I talked in One Piece about how, and I know there's not 100% crossover. So some people have seen my One Piece reactions, some haven't. But I talked there about how a show can be such a cartoon you can't emotionally engage with the characters, and that show is, and Futurama is. This is not. So maybe we could drill down a little bit. What is the difference here? Like, what? Why is this not a cartoon? Why am I emotionally engaged with these characters, considering how silly it is? Versus One Piece, I'm not emotionally engaged with them because of how silly it is. Why is that? I think the idea of tech, futuristic tech being the magic here, technology. Like, this is a technological suit. People built this suit. We assume these angels are technology. These angels are coming in and the technology is trying to kill people, right? So the technology is technology, even if the technology is magical. Like the series Fringe, that was all magic science, right? But it felt plausible because we don't know enough science to realize it's not plausible. So it doesn't feel like magic, even though it is magic, right? So that's why the magic, the quote unquote magic in One Piece is magic. These demons, these devil fruits, or what I think they call them, devil fruits. The magic is there, and then also just the art style is way more ridiculous. This art style is realistic, so it grounds me. That like I'm trying to. I'm not criticizing either show. I'm not like criticizing One Piece. I'm trying to identify why I feel a certain way, right? And I think the way I feel a certain way, this animation style is realistic, and the magic is technology which feels plausible, even if it's not. It's probably just as implausible as Devil Fruit, but it feels more realistic. One Piece, the art style is more ridiculous, more cartoonish, if we can use that word, considering both animation. And the magic is magic, right? It's not. There's never going to be a devil fruit we find that can make you a rubber band, right? That's interesting. That's very interesting. Anyway, I just wanted to stick this thought in here before I forget about it because like another 10 minutes I'll have forgotten.